Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Chris Kidd, he's with Chris Kidd Enterprises, chriskidd.com. And also, we've got David Wright. He's with minor league baseball. We're going to continue our conversation. Do want to remind the listener, best content here shows up over there at usdatareview.com. Check our latest interview on the Biz TV network, which we just added Columbus, Ohio to that network. That's another close to 1 million people in the large coast-to-coast reach of the program now has, and delighted to have that. And most recent interview I had was with U.S. Senator Rand Paul. You can check that out at usdatareview.com. I'm going to go back to our conversation with David Wright. You know, there's this belief system out there, is that everyone is working to get into AAA. AAA is where you want to be, the springboard into the major leagues. But the reality, from what I can see, is there's a lot of people that go through AA straight to AAA. I mean, straight to the major leagues, and it's almost like the AAA is filled with a lot of people who may be more of guys whose careers are almost done, rather than the guys ready to transition to the big time. I don't know. Kind of help us understand how all that looks.
Yeah, I think you touch on an interesting point, Kevin. I think, and again, I'm 4 days into this, so I'm kind of immersing myself. But I do think there is a little bit of that. You've got the up-and-coming players that are on kind of that springboard to the big leagues, and then you've got the players that are very, very accomplished that, make an incredible career out of the AAA side of the game. So, again, I think it varies, but I think it's a pretty clear observation that you made.
Interesting, because I've seen a lot of that. When I see someone, this is his first major league game. Well, where was he last? He was in a AA team, not a AAA team.
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
Kind of an interesting, I just noticed that over time. Chris?
Well, David, a little while ago you were talking about like the ownership and stuff, and I know, like with the NBA and stuff like that, a lot of times you'll see, owners owning either, multiple teams that are like maybe the D League or the WNBA or something. Do you see any of that within minor league baseball? Or are they totally different owners, and what kind of things do you see differently from some of the owners there?
Yeah, it's a couple of things, Chris. I think you absolutely see major league owners own minor league teams. It's extremely prevalent, obviously, in the AAA and AA side of things. The other interesting thing is you do have ownership groups that own multiple teams. Now, there's obviously rules and regulations. You can't own two teams in the same league, but that is quite common. Throughout the 160 clubs. So you do see ownership groups that see great value in owning a club in the Southwest and a club in the Northeast. And again, it speaks to kind of the progressive nature of many of these folks. They see an incredible business opportunity. Mm-hmm. And also somewhat unique. The owners aren't bearing the cost of the player salaries. So when you think about it from a business standpoint, that's a pretty enticing business model if you're an owner that wants to own a professional club, that wants to give back to the community, that wants to do good, and by the way, run a really good business. And I think there is case study after case study of success stories. I mean, you look at a club like the Dayton Dragons. I believe they're a AA club. They've sold out every game for something like 10 years.
Yeah.
So you talk about relevance in that market. If you're an 11-year-old kid, guess what? You're very, very familiar, and chances are you've been to a Dayton Dragons game, and your family and your friends, and I mean, it is ingrained in that community. So from a marketing standpoint, you couldn't ask for a better situation. And from where I sit, as we think about not only promoting the league and the growth of the sport, how do you align with those brands that have the same vision, that want to align with a progressive leader in the space to drive their business? And I think, as we look to the future, that's going to be a big, big point of emphasis. And I'm excited for the opportunity. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Chris Kidd and Kevin Price interviewing David Wright, and he's with minor league baseball. Talk a little bit about the preseason. First of all, when does it begin? Is it in Florida and in Arizona like it is in the major leagues, or how does the preseason work? And maybe in even more locations because there's almost 200 teams, like you mentioned earlier. So where does preseason take place for the minor league? When does it begin, and how long does it last?
Yeah, again, I'm just getting my feet wet here, guys. So
we're patient.
It is starting over the next couple of weeks. Our opening day is just after the major league opening day. It's the Thursday after opening day for Major League Baseball in early April. So leading up to that, obviously critical time for preseason in Florida. I believe it is in Arizona as well. So a lot of activity to get ready for the 2016 season, and something we're obviously pretty excited about.
Well, David, you one thing that you've mentioned a couple times is and certainly this kind of your area of expertise in the marketing with minor league baseball. One thing that I notice is the entertainment side of everything is just on a whole nother level. When you go to a minor league baseball game, I mean, there's something going on every single inning. In between, in the middle of the innings, there's always something going on. There's stuff to do at the parks, and I mean, it's like an amusement park at some of these places. Not just you're not just going to see a baseball game, but there's so much stuff to do. Talk a little bit about that.
100%. I mean, it's an event, right? It's an event in a safe environment. And by the way, there's a great baseball game going on. So when you combine, a great product on the field with an incredible and fun environment, it's an incredible experience for the entire family. And we've done a lot of research, and it's amazing just the connectivity and the memories that these fans have. And since my announcement and coming on board, I can't tell you how many people have reached out to tell me their own personal story, from their local hometown team and what they remember from, maybe when they were 8 or 12 or 26, and I think we all have those stories, and that really makes it really special and something that, is going to be around for an awful long time and is always going to have a place in sport and entertainment.
Okay, for all the reasons that Chris just said, but plus what you just said about the quality of the game itself, I love minor league baseball. I always have. I always figure out how to go to a couple of games every year, and sometimes that's not as easy because I get unlimited, it seems like, access through friends and stuff to the Astros and that type of thing. I get a lot of access to that type of thing. And so, but I love minor league baseball. Those guys are still hungry. They still know that they're, what they've got to do in order to get to the next level. They're trying to get to that next level. They don't have that jagged edge. Wait a minute. Next year my contract's up. I better conserve my energy this year attitude that I think I see, on the top level. And so I'm a huge fan of minor league baseball. And what we're going to do is we're going to get you back on, hopefully fairly soon, so we can test your knowledge more than someone who only had 4 days, which I think you did a great job, David, with that.
Well, hey, Kevin, I will accept that challenge. So I look forward to it, and I really appreciate you guys, your support and interest in minor league baseball. I look forward to staying in touch.
You bet. MILB.com. Chris Kidd, he's at chriskidd, KIDD.com. And I'm Kevin Price. Remember to check out our show on the Biz TV network this Sunday. Interesting one about the problem in academics and higher learning and much more. Have a great day. Spend it wisely right here on this station.